Why, hello and welcome everybody. Also, good morning. It's been a while. So today I wanted to go ahead and update you guys with what is happening in the Path of Exile 0.2 massive patch. For people who don't know, essentially for us who have played PoE 2, we've been waiting a long time for this big patch. And even if you're playing PoE 1, you're waiting for this patch to happen so some of the devs can go back over to PoE 1. So with that being said, it was a pretty massive reveal, and I want to go ahead and try to kind of dumb down things and just condense it so we can jump right back into it. You can expect to see more content on the channel as, PoE season is kind of coming back. Whether it's PoE 1 or PoE 2, I will cover both of them, right? So, let's get started. Before we go too far into this, RF is not out yet. Don't grasp at false expectation here. As they are releasing classes and themes with skills, I assume that when the Templar gets released, or maybe the Druid, probably the Templar, I think that's when RF will come out. So, let's get started. Towers have been reworked. Now, one of my things I hated the most about PoE 2 actually was towers. The endgame system with towers really kind of fell short for me because you encountered them so often, would put your tablets on there, which were also kind of a little annoying, and then they would hit random maps, and it just was not a very fun experience to encounter these things every 20 minutes. My personal thing is I wanted towers to be gone. I didn't think there was going to be a good solution. I actually would like to say that they created a good solution. So they reworked towers. On top of having more variety of different types of towers, which they did in a previous patch, they've made it so that towers can have league mechanics on them. They can have bosses. More importantly, they are much more rare to encounter, but when you do encounter them, they're much more beneficial. So basically, instead of constantly encountering towers, putting in a tablet, hoping it hits the maps, now you encounter a tower a bit, quite a bit less frequently, but when you encounter it, the tablet themselves is up to 2 times as good, so it's already hitting a larger area with double the amount of maps it hits, but then you can juice it to be 4 times as good. I don't remember exactly how this works, and then you can add up to 3 tablets in a map based on how juicy your map was. In addition to this, you get rewarded for doing higher tier maps, so it does feel like a better system. TLDR, you encounter them less. When you do encounter them, it does a lot more for what you put in. So I'm happy. Less time spent with management of inventory and everything else, more time spent playing the game. Another big thing they did is they added 6 portals back. So these 6 portals now start right when you hit the end game, which is maps, and it will scale down so less portals as your maps become more juicy. So I do believe we're going to go back to just 1 portal again, but at least this way, when your character is at its weakest, you don't feel like you're getting punished as much. I do still kind of dislike this to an extent because GGG is known for a whole bunch of on-death effects, and it's just not fun to die when you're picking up loot and then getting punished for it, so we'll see what happens with this. We got 5 new ascendancies and a new class. Of the 5 new ascendancies, 2 of them come with a new class, and I'm going to be honest, one of them literally looks like a cooler blood mage, and it's called Lich. But we're not going to talk about my blood mage hate. Let's talk about something else. Smith of Katava. I'm not going to cover each one of the ascendancies, but what I will do is I'll provide a link that I have right over here in the description that shows all of the ascendancies, so you guys can just go ahead, jump in, and pretty much look at that. So Smith of Katava is kind of like a Forge Guard from last Epoch alongside a Chieftain in Path of Exile. Kind of a cool class. Ritualist is a Huntress. Ritualist is like a physical slash, I'm just going to say headhunter class. It has the ability to steal mods from enemies. It has the ability to kind of like hurt themselves to gain headhunter mods, which is basically stealing a affix off a rare monster. It also has the ability to wear an extra ring and scale the effect of all of your accessories. So we can see this being really popular with the belt Ingenuity, unless of course they limit that. Lich, which is the cooler blood mage, has a lot of different things in it. Basically, I can't really explain it. I would just go look at it. Really freaking cool class. Amazon. Amazon is going to be kind of like the more elemental route for the Huntress build. Amazon has basically a whole bunch of bonus elemental stuff. It consumes charges to gain extra elements. It can also be an accuracy stacker. It can get bonus physical damage and or crit chance for stacking. Pretty cool. Tactician, I'm going to be honest, I played crossbows and got scarred for life. Crossbows actually received the most buffs out of every weapon across the board, they said. Tactician also has a little bit of minion stuff in there. I didn't look too much at this as I just was not really interested in playing another crossbow class. Do remember you can play anything on anything, but since the game is in such an early state, I would rather play how the class was intended and then maybe try out some meme stuff after. Alright, we got some new crafting options. No longer do we have to play Merge Dragons. We now have a Fracturing Orb, which drops off of some of the new content. Fracturing Orb works exactly like it does in PoE 1. For those of you guys who don't know how it works, you basically use it on an item that has at least 4 affixes, right? So think of 90 life, 30 fire, cold, lightning res. When you apply the Fracturing Orb, that stat that it randomly hits is locked in place, can never be removed. You can now spam Exalts, for example, and it will never change that. I can see this being really good for a lot of physical builds, right? Trying to target a very high flat physical roll on like a quarterstaff for monk or a percent physical roll I think this is going to be very good. It doesn't seem like it's going to be as rare as PoE 1, so I'm excited for this. Recombinators. For people who don't know how recombinators work, you basically can take 2 items and attempt to merge them together, although there is a chance it fails, and if it fails, it deletes both of them. Recombinators are making their way into PoE 2, and they're going to be essentially with Expedition. Expedition is the one where there's like the things on the floor, you place the explosives. In the Q&A that I listened to with Ziggy D and Jonathan and Mark, I think they said that it's expected that after you clear a single expedition, you'll be able to recombinate 1 item. So I can see this being very useful and something that is just quite literally used all the time. You know, whenever you have those bases that look kind of good, but, you know, they're kind of shit, but they're like kind of good, throw them in the recombinator. Now, you know, before all you could really do is kind of spam Exalts or Chaos Orbs, and that just felt bad. I like that there's another option, and this is something that I was asking for. Omens, they said, got buffed by about 2.5 times the drop rate. Furthermore, there is guaranteed to be an Omen in every single ritual after completing all the rituals in a map. Very good. I know the rare Omens are still going to be giga rare, but any form of buff to crafting, I think, is very needed. Greater Essences are more common, so that's going to be on the Essence side. On top of them being more common, you can corrupt Essences with a Vol Orb at a chance at getting Greater Essences and adding more Essences. You can also get the new Corrupted Essences. I don't know exactly what they're called in PoE 2. I don't know if they're the same as PoE 1. By the way, there's a new tier of Essence. You can also find maps that are unique, essentially all about Essences. Here's an example of one of the Headhunter mods I was talking about that you can like steal. You can see they just kind of like cut themselves and they got the modifier there. Looks kind of like Haste, actually. That's pretty cool. Okay. Some new Atlas content. Rogue Exiles now appear in maps. Not only do they appear in maps, but they also have unique items, or can have unique items. When you see a Rogue Exile with a unique item, it'll actually show it. When you kill it, it is guaranteed to drop that. Do note that the Rogue Exiles are a little bit different. If they end up killing you and you have more than 1 portal, they will actually take a portal and leave. So they're meant to be rare and they're meant to be like meaningful, right? So we'll see how that actually works out. Over here, new unique maps with fun encounters. One of the other things is in some of the unique maps, you can get what's called like a Simplex Amulet. Basically, if you play PoE 1, you can get heist bases from some of these unique maps. If you don't play PoE 1, essentially new accessory bases that are like +1 suffix, -1 prefix, and vice versa. Things like that. New Tormented Spirits. TLDR, there's a Wisp, and these happen randomly when you're in your maps. They can just randomly spawn. When you follow the Wisp, it will just keep on going in a direction. If you stay away from it for too long, it will dissipate. As it bumps into monsters, they become stronger, but they reward more loot. There are some really cool ones that, for example, one of them up-tiers the monsters. So up-tiering the monster, an example of that would be if it hits a blue mob, it turns into a rare. If it hits a rare mob, it turns into a boss. Cool stuff. New Atlas progression. No longer is it you reach the end game after you complete the campaign and all of it says go complete 15 maps. Now there's going to be this new cleanse/corruption encounter. We had corruption before. I believe they're changing that. And there's now this cleanse stuff. Essentially, there's 2 different ways to do it. You could either farm the corruption or you could farm the cleanse. Whatever corruption you don't clear when you do the encounter will turn cleanse, and it's like a bunch of maps. The cleansed encounters are where you get the fracturing orbs. There are new unique strong boxes. There's more Atlas points that center around the new league mechanics and just in general more things. They changed up the Atlas tree. I guess these are kind of together. There's unique tablets now. One of the unique tablets, and this is with towers, allows you to kind of jump to another region. So you could skip a large part of your passive tree if you don't like it. Waystone drop rate has been revamped. You're guaranteed at low tier maps to get a Waystone at the, or basically when you kill the last rare. This is now deterministic, so you can kind of keep climbing up. And remember that if you die now, as long as your maps aren't too juiced, you will get multiple portals. So for players who struggle, this should be a big buff for you. You also don't drop low-level Waystones in high-level maps anymore. So example, a T15 map would drop a T15 or above Waystone. I like this one a lot. Ray's Spectre gem has been added to the game. Do note, there's also a specific companion spirit gem where you can raise 1 minion permanently. I don't know exactly how that works, but it does also inherit all of the rare properties that that monster had. Mounts are in the game, although mounts are in the form of basically Aroa. You don't really want to use this on every class. It doesn't actually give you bonus movement speed. The purpose of the mount is that while you are mounted, you do not have a penalty to your movement speed when using ranged attacks. I don't know about spells, for sure attacks. Also, if you saw in that clip really fast here, do you see this rain of arrows that's flying from the screen? This rain of arrows is on the new Merc class. I do believe this is actually a minion skill that's shooting those, which is pretty interesting. So the purpose of the mounts is so you don't get a penalty when attacking with ranged. There's going to be this little bar, and you can actually see the bar down here where my head is. If you've ever played like with a shield character, you'll notice there's a stamina bar. So the stamina bar applies to blocking, parrying, which comes with Huntress and their shields, and then being on the mount. When your stamina bar fills up all the way, you will be dismounted and stunned on the floor with either of the three. Evasion does work, meaning you can evade the stamina damage. So I can see this being used in a number of ways. So the mount's kind of very niche, right? New rune tiers. The new rune tiers are pretty big because it's kind of stale to just keep picking up the same rune. The new rune tiers have higher flat damage, higher resistance, etc. I do believe they even said there are exclusive new runes from specific bosses and other things. Pinnacle bosses are now weaker at stage 0, and they do not reduce your XP if you die. I think this is massive. I think this is very big. They said that there is too big of a difference going from a T15 boss to a T0 unique, T0 unique mod, whatever they're called. You know, you fight like Zesh level 0, it's going to have, I think, around half the HP as it did before. I think this is really good, though, because it helps intermediate players or players who are learning kind of get into that content. And for people who are like me, who like to map grind, you know, say you're at this amount of XP right here, you're closing in on a level up, you kind of are, you don't really want to try something rippy because if you die, you lose XP. I never really liked that, but they've changed that, so that's pretty cool. There's over 100 new uniques, 100 new support gems. I want to say 25, even 30 new skills, as they specifically have 20 new spear skills. I don't know why I said 100. All old ascendancies have been changed. Whether they're buffed or nerfed, I have no idea. They specifically said they looked at every single ascendancy. Blood Mage, please get changed. Blood Mage, please. And the last one is a fresh new economy for those who want to join the restart. For people who don't know, every couple of months with Path of Exile, they basically do a new league. In this instance, it's not necessarily a new league, it's just like a new server. All of these changes are going to be in the standard version, which is what people are playing now, and they will also be in the new one. So for people who want to jump in on the, with everyone else and start fresh, now is your time to play next week. I'll be posting some more content on that as we get to that point. I'm going to be starting Huntress. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to play. I really want to play a Huntress. I kind of want to play both variants of the Huntress. I also want to play, what is it called? Lich. I don't know what type of Lich build. I haven't played a Chaos build in POE 2 yet. And then I'm actually also really looking into, I'm just going to call him Forge Guard. He's not called Forge Guard, he's called Smith the Katava. This guy looks really cool as well on the defensive side of things. Anyway, that's pretty much about it. Like I said before, I will drop a link to the ascendancies down below in the comments so you guys can go peek it. But that's it for me for the day. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I'm happy to be back. If you guys liked the video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget you can catch me streaming live every day but Sundays at twitch.tv/Pohx. See you guys all tomorrow.